down and y'all didn't even know. I was wiggling. Oh, wait, what? Ladies like a man with no muckle. No muckle hair. The fuck is a muckle? Ugh. Of course I said egotistical. What are you kidding me? Do you like it high and tight, or you like beef curtains? Piss is indeed stored in the balls. Settle down and eat your cock sandwich. Hi, friends. Hi. Happy Monday. What's going on? Oh, we got some spooky music for our demoness here. Ooh. What's happening? What's happening, Cryptid? What's happening, Siriana? Hello, Quixote. Quixote? Why is the X so big? It's throwing me off. Welcome in. You'll notice I'm sitting today. I already stood today, and I didn't feel like standing again. I was standing earlier. I just felt like I had to stand up, and now I feel like I have to sit down. So sue me. Sue me. Fuck. Move my whole fucking monitor. Welcome back to the arts department, everybody. It's been a little while. How's it going? X is special. Quixote. Word. What's happening? How was everybody's week? Mine was filled with family and just all of the things. Feels like a lot of life has happened since I streamed last. And that's a good thing, I guess. No, it was great. I got to spend time with wonderful people whom I appreciate and missed, and spend time with my pops, who I never spend time with, yeah, just generally had a good time. Quixote, have you been here before, friend, or are you new to the arts department? If so, welcome on in. I have especially streamer brain, because there's like 50. There's like text here, and there's like stuff there, and there's stuff there, and there's like all over the place. So my brain. New. Welcome in. Things can be really chill around here, or they can be absolute fucking chaos and silliness. Chaos happens a little more over on the Twitch side of things. Let's see if the links actually work right now. You gonna do the thing? You're gonna do the thing. Yeah, so, you can follow on the Twitch, but I'm gonna be moving over here eventually full time. But tonight we're here, and we've had a nice about a week off, and this is our first time back after a little bit of downtime. You can see the sketch. Nope, there. This sketch, I traced it off and put it onto this board here. And we are going to be drawing on it this evening. You can see it's rather thick. It's a cradled birch board that I primed. Did not prime the inside though, clearly. Just the surface we're going to be working on. So I had hoped to have this transferred and up on an easel so we could do some painting on it. And time is not on my side. So I've been getting everything done that I could, but it still was not enough to find the time to transfer this. So that's what we're gonna do now. Basically what I did was I traced off the drawing from my Cintiq, and so what's interesting about that is it changes a little bit along the way, right? So I just basically took tracing paper, turned the brightness on my Cintiq all the way up, taped tracing paper down, and then just traced it off. And it changed a little bit from the drawing, as you can see. Did it again over here. which is fucking stupid because the Cintiq is literally right there. Like if I want to point at it, it's over there. Fucking dumb. Don't mind this tape on the table. It's just the markers so that I know that if I can see the tape that it's in the frame. Anyway, how's everybody's week? What'd you all get up to in the past week? Good, bad, ugly? So, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this this Carmine Red Cola Race. Can't actually read that, can you? It says Carmine Red if you can't read it. I don't know. It's blurry here, or I am old and my eyes are fucked. Anyway, so I use Carmine Red so that I know the lines that I have already hit, and the paper that I'm using to transfer is this stuff. No wax, no grease, erases like pencil, as it says, washes out of fabric, ink or paint over tracing, won't skip, meaning it won't pool off of it. Economical, can be used again and again. That's bullshit, but it's good stuff. But what I did learn from the last transfer that I did is that it also tends to go on pretty thick when it hasn't had time to dry. What I mean by that is I had some older stuff and it went on really thin and it gave me really fine lines. So I am going to be trying to get finer lines out of this by being very gentle with my pencil marks. And that means that I'm going to have a light hand, right? Can't see what I'm doing. Yep, there we go. Oh, I just had to suck in my gut. Because this is 24 inches of goodness. That's what she said. Thanks for asking. Started on a piece long sitting on my easel. Ooh, nice. That's always exciting, right? I was too busy to paint for the past 2 weeks. And got a little bit of painting in yesterday. I got about 3 hours in, and it was wonderful. Hello, Sarah Oz. Sarah with an L. Yeah, Sarah. So I'm going to, so that I cannot miss anything, I'm going to work left to right, I think. Like top to bottom, or sorry, upper left to bottom right, so that I can try and make sure that I hit every one of these things, because if I don't hit it, I'm gonna have to make it up when I pull this paper off and we have just the board underneath. But like I was saying, got about 3 hours in on some painting. Did some washes and some glazes and some opaque stuff. You know, so I'm being very obtuse about it because it was all figurative work and I can't really show that stuff on stream, which is very disappointing, because I think some of you guys would like some of the figurative stuff. And I would post it on the Discord, but there are people from my actual day job that frequent the Discord. So, in an effort to keep everybody happy as well as my career, won't be on there. You have to look around for it, friends. Is it out there anywhere? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe not. A veritable garden of things. I have a hard time starting a fear thing, I think, but always glad when I break through that. Yeah, there's a metal song that starts off, my hell is a blank piece of paper, and I always think about that when I'm starting on a new piece, right? But I don't really feel that way anymore. I used to get stage fright, so to speak, quite a bit. And now I just feel like, well, I've kind of loaded up on a lot of things to do, right? So if I don't have something to do, I'll grab a reference material and fucking paint that, or it just seems like there's always something that you can do, right? I'm gonna push up here. You can't really see it. Sorry. I was pushing up here because the paper is a little bit loose up there. I tried to pull it as taut as possible, but the problem is that I've got the bottom. You can see the bottom part. I had to tape 2 sheets together. So a little wonky because I didn't want to bust out my my roll of tracing paper, because then it's got this weird roll to it, and I didn't want to fight that. And then I realized I could have just done it so that the roll was facing down, and it would have tried to be curling down towards the thing, and then it would have been fine. But ye of little brain, you know. What type of stuff are you painting, Coyote? I'm glad I finished another page from my sketchbook, brainstorming my next page. That's cool, Lo-Fi. Rocking on, brother. Lo-Fi, would you mind if I gave you a tiny piece of advice? I'm not going to until you say yes, though. So much pencil to do on here. Jesus. I am a tease, David Short of the Dazzle Clan. Working on a shaman piece, but keeping mainly it with fantasy type works. Oh, that's cool, Coyote. If you get an opportunity, join the Discord. We'd love to see some of your work if you can share it on there. This community is all about the arts. Sure. Okay. So I was looking at your dynamic sketching things, and I don't know. I'm not sure, because we had that discussion about dynamic sketching and it coming from Norm Sherman, who was kind of it had originated as an art center kind of technique, and then he learned it from his teachers, and I learned it from him, and then he passed away and passed it on to some of the other kids that I was studying with, and so. There's what's up, Martas? Welcome in, buddy. So there's a long and storied history there, and I kind of feel like I have a first-hand understanding of what you're trying to accomplish with dynamic sketching. So this is a very rare instance where I feel like I might be able to give you a valid opinion. The rest of the time I'm just spouting nonsense and it's utter bullshit, and don't listen to me. But in this case, the kind of the fundamental core of dynamic sketching is to observe form and break it down into its requisite components. And this is something that I had a hard time with when I was in his class, because I kept wanting to flesh things out, right? And he kind of drilled into me that what you're doing is studying and dictating what a form is, and a lot of cross hatching and hatching isn't really denoting what the form is. So what really drives home your form. Paper? There's a paper in here! Hold on a second. Oh man. I don't want to set anything on top of this, because anytime that you set something on top of it, when you have that red paper under there, it will mark. You'll have additional marks on the surface when you're done. So the way I understand it is that, let's say a penguin, right? You're doing your penguin page, right? So get your head shape. Get your body shape. And you want to connect the forms. And then show that they're three-dimensional by giving some cross contours here and there, but only where they're needed, right? Wow, I suddenly realized I have no idea what a penguin beak looks like. It's just, my brain just went fucking utterly blank. So you have this snowman. That guy's a fucking idiot. So, but what I was observing in your dynamic sketching pages is a lot of defining your form through hatching like this. When really what you're looking to convey is the cross contour of the form. And you can put shadow points by just adding in little tiny additional elements here and there, right? It doesn't, you don't have to show the entire thing. Here, little tiny eyeballs. Ugliest fucking penguin ever. So just getting in your cross contours where you need to tell a story or tell something about the form, right? Rather than having like the whole hatching across the entire form and maybe some cross hatching in darker points and everything. They're different. They're different skill sets, I think, as far as I understand dynamic sketching. Your teacher may be bringing something else to the equation of it, but they're doing it wrong. Sorry, I was hoping that I would have immediate access to my dynamic sketching sketchbooks from when I was in college, but I can't seem to find them. Why am I not surprised? Hello, Cosmonaut. I need to include more of the 3D structure over doing the rendering. Yes, lo-fi, absolutely. That was the concise way of me rambling to get to the point. But I'm a visual learner, and actually that's not entirely true, but pictures always help, right? So back to this bad boy. Yes, Ian, I am. Hello, Cosmer. How are you? You're very welcome, Lo-Fi. I want you to continue to succeed in your momentum, and I think you're doing great. So I just want to give you a little something to think about. Another thing you can think about is don't look for style yet. Keep on working on structure. I'll say that for the next 2 years, man. At Art Center, they didn't want us to think about style until our 5th term there, which even if you were going straight through was still your 2nd year. So How's it going, Cosmonaut? Cosmonaut. It's a human who I'm very partial to. This is going to be so good. Are you planning on selling it? I was thinking about that when I was doing the transfer, Sarah Oz. And I will have to see how it comes out. I mean, it could utterly fucking fail, and then I wouldn't want somebody to have a failure of a painting. There's just some things where you're like, nah. But given that I am taking my time with it, and I'm doing all these things on the side over here that are just little studies, like 5x7, 6x12s, and stuff like that, to like get some techniques to maybe make sure that it doesn't fail. We'll see. I mean, there's no making sure anything doesn't fail, right? Because I could have the finished product in mind, and any step along the way I could fumble it, and then with painting it's really hard to recover, especially the way that I have this in mind. There's going to be a very kind of watercolor painterly aspect to it, meaning I'm using a lot of glazes and washes to get to a end product that is in my head. But what if it comes out too good to sell? Well, then Lo-Fi, you price it high. It's that easy. Like I have here, I'll show you. It's fucking show and tell night at the arts department. This one, right? So you can see that it's not that big. It's 6x12. Deep cradle, right? What's interesting about it, I don't know if you can see, the lips are gloss, the blood is gloss, and everything else is matte. Right? So, if somebody wanted to buy this from me, this would be a $20,000 painting. And if you're willing to drop $20,000 to have this in your home and it be yours, I would part with it. But it's very important to me overall. It's a painting that I really love, and it's a moment in my history that is documented. So if you want to keep something, you determine what your fuck off price is. And that would be my fuck off price. Like, sure, yeah, okay, I'll fuck off, you can have it, right? Or list a price you'd be willing to do it again for. Yeah, so you mean, Cosmo, you mean doing and this is something that a lot of the comic book artists I know will do, is they'll do reproductions of covers that are out there, right? And covers that they had done, or homage covers, that sort of thing. Especially Bob Layton. Because, you know, he's later in his career, he's retired for the most part, just kind of living at cons and selling stuff, right? And quite frequently, he will post up on his Facebook page that he did a redo of something that he had done in the 70s or 80s, right? When he was working on Demon in a Bottle and all that Iron Man stuff. I was thinking how much I'd want for a full sketchbook. Those are my babies. Yeah, nobody sells a full sketchbook. I mean, if you were to sell a full, I mean, that's not entirely true. If I don't even know that I have a full sketchbook to sell. And generally you don't think about selling full sketchbooks, but if I was to sell something like that, depends on what pieces are in it, right? Like I have some sketchbooks that have prelims for other things that are, and they're the first time I drew things, and that came out and turned into paintings later on or something like that. Depending on the number of pieces in it, there's generally, 30-something pages to a sketchbook, so I'm guessing like 100K or something. And generally, if somebody is going to drop that kind of money, if you have a serious collector that wants that kind of thing, you can negotiate those things with them, right? It's not a one-sided conversation. I do wonder though, like, there's still going to be people that want to collect art in that regard. And are you going to make it worth their money, right? Because that's ultimately, like, everybody looks at art as a tangible way to invest in things. Meaning they have a finished product that they can see and hang on their walls, that sort of thing. In most cases, I think. Sure, there's conceptual art, which will take that, will question the validity of those things, and fucking banana tape to a wall kind of thing. And then what do you own? Do you own the certificate of authenticity of the tape that held the banana when the banana rots away, right? So I'm trying to be very careful with some of these lines here, because in the end, when I lift this up, it's going to be surprising as to the way that it comes out. Let's actually finish out this top stuff so that I can move this up and be comfortable, because this is a little bit uncomfortable at the moment. Gotta suffer for your art, man. Oh, I got to play a little D&D this weekend. It was fun. It was fun. What made you decide to do this traditionally? I think Daniel and I were talking about doing some oil pieces. Can I shout out Daniel? We were talking about doing some oil pieces and just having some finished products, and I realized all of my stuff is much more figurative than this, much more adult oriented, and I wanted to have something that was a little more fantasy based. I wanted to see where I would land with that. So first I had to determine what my finished product was going to look like and what type of techniques I was going to be using. And so a lot of that was kind of injected into my weekend painting sessions of like experimenting with stuff. And I hit on a couple of techniques that I was like, okay, these are interesting, and these are things that I can use to get to a look that I want in a finished piece. And so once I was able to do that, I was able to say, okay, well, time to transfer something and see where we land on it. You know, Daniel has been doing, so he did the Dragonstorm piece. If you guys haven't seen that, follow that link that I posted earlier, and go check out his, I would say his Twitter. We've both been a little bit more active on Twitter since Instagram is a fucking cesspool of shit right now. Moving away from being a visual arts based thing, right? Hello. Fucking. So I got this this pencil sharpener, and can see that you can adjust the tip to be either a long tip or a shorter tip, and every time you sharpen it, you have to retighten the thing that says what tip you want. You got to specify your tip every time. Words to live by, ladies or gentlemen. Let's not discriminate. Specify your tip. It's very important. Is Twitter better though? I feel like I have better luck on Instagram. Yeah, just the tip indeed. I find it, as far as interacting with people, I find Twitter to be less cumbersome than the bullshit that happens over on Instagram. Just meaning interacting with people without the company getting in the way of everything. Plus, at this point, I just don't want to support Instagram. They're a bunch of fuckholes. So I just kind of want to abandon ship over there, but I'm not quite there yet. I'm basically just trying to keep using it for what it's worth until it's not worth it anymore. It's very close to not worth it in my eyes, but some people are still there. But if you really pay attention, a lot of people dislike Instagram. You know, when the maximalists, the people that love Instagram, start talking shit, you know that shit's gonna go down real soon. Not to mention, like, you listen to the CEO and he's like, yeah, we're a video company now. You know what, dick? You fucking dick. I think really what chafes me about Instagram is the shadow bans, the censorship, basically just the 1984 fucking Orwellian control of society through an application, pushing puritanical values onto people. When I feel like that kind of thing, like if you have a certain amount of reach, you have I feel like you're like the press. You're supposed to be fucking impartial, and part of that is kind of me just wishing that it was more like that, but. I think they're trying to compete with TikTok. Well, if people wanted TikTok, they'd fucking use TikTok. I don't know. I feel like they're just trying to make a US-based version of TikTok, and they should have just made another app and then just funneled people over there, rather than polluting their existing app and changing it at its core. I mean, I know shit has to change. That's life, right? But people make their livelihood off of Instagram, so basically messing with people's livelihood. Why? Because you can. Not saying I agree with that direction, but it could be partially why they're going. Yeah, it's. I mean, it's clear if you look at the way that they've done things that's the route they're going, the announcements and everything, you know. And even just getting on the app and interacting with people, that's you know, if you accidentally click on a reel, you're then in reels and you can't get out. You're like, what the fuck, man? But I wanted to look at pictures, not fucking videos. Leave me alone. Such is life. The real world. Dazzle, I love it and hate it, my friend. You're right, one of the Jenners is complaining about Insta, so they are probably going to change back. I saw that. They can't do that forever though, right? Because as soon as they the Jenners lose their any of their following or clout, then they're just gonna fucking go back into trying to turn it into something that nobody wants and very few people need. Yeah. So I'm trying to be a little bit, I mean, it seems like I'm being tight, right? But that I'm trying to be cavalier with my mark making. Part of it is to save my hand, because tracing anything off always hurts my hand after too long, right? And that's from being like really tense and trying to follow the lines exactly. So rather than that, I'm trying to like keep it loose and keep my mark making kind of lively. This gets hard. Here we go. If we're up in this corner, why I have nothing to rest my damn hand on. There we go. That's bad, folks. You don't want to be tucking your arm in like this at all when you draw, ever. You want your arm to be out and loose, hanging at a 90-degree angle, drawing from the shoulder, right? So don't do that. Do as I say, not as I do. Okay. Now I can move forward a little bit. You know what I need is a little bit of support underneath this thing. Ow. It's a good thing about having a studio full of stuff. God damn it. There we go. No, too tall. Too tall. Let's take it down lower. All the way to the last latch. We just need a little bit of support. Let's just gently cup the surface. Oh, there you go. There you go. It's a little better. Let's move this back. There you go. Ooh, so good. Leod, what's up, buddy? Welcome in. How you doing? Long time. Long time. How's the art going, friend? So like I said, trying to keep this stuff loose. Partially for my wrist, partially because, like I said earlier, the Serral transfer paper has a tendency to go on kind of thick, even when you don't want it to. And it turns every line into a thick line. So you gotta be very careful with that. Part of that is the pressure on the paper, right? So what you're doing is pressing down on the paper and it's creating a wider kind of profile where it's touching the surface rather than just being a nice little pencil mark. It's going good. I'm working right now, catching up on some work. That's good. That is good. I caught up on my work today, met my deadline, and I'm moving on to another group of stuff, group of deadlines. This week is rather hectic for me. How about yourself? Are you talking about regular work or personal work? Hey friends, don't forget to hydrate. Wow, are we going to get through this thing tonight? I hope we get through this thing tonight. Because I want to be able to pull off the tape and show you guys what it looks like when I pull the tape off. And then do some touch-ups on it, right? So the reason that I'm keeping it kind of loose in some spots is so that I can tighten the actual final drawing on the board. Because the vision that I have for it is the final drawing is going to do a lot of the work for where we end up. So a lot of these lines, I want these lines to be present in the final piece of art. So I'm thinking about doing, like I said, washes and that sort of thing, right? But I'm also thinking about making sure that that there's some thick and thin in my lines, and that it's going to read in an intriguing and interesting way and move your eye about, and then augmenting that with the colors that I throw in there as we move forward. And our first pass of color is going to be very quick. It's going to be a blink and you'll miss it stream. Because we're going to be doing washes, and those washes are the type of thing where I'm going to, it will probably take me, I'm guessing, half an hour, 45 minutes to do the washes on this. So when I say we're starting the painting proper, don't miss the stream, folks. Don't miss the beginning of the stream, because that's when everything's going to happen. I mean, you know, I'll fuck off on stream for a little bit on camera. Job work, I've been doing storyboards for an upcoming animated show. Hey, right on, Leod. Can you tell us anything about the upcoming animated show? Like what company is producing it, or anything like that? Well, thank you. I appreciate that. But even more so than when I was doing the sketch, I'm thinking about the quality of line, and the shapes and that sort of thing, right? as if the sketch was a pencil drawing and this is the ink drawing. But I really cut my teeth on like a few weeks back. I basically transferred 13 drawings across the course of the week. But unfortunately, I used the last of my Sorrel paper when I did those, except for I think the last two were the new Sorrel paper, and I was like, shit, there's a difference in the quality of the way that it transfers. So I'm still kind of playing catch up on what it's going to look like when I tear this off. What's up, Rick Barry? How you doing, buddy? We actually got to meet in person this past weekend. That was wonderful. It's always nice to meet people from the arts department. Dinner bell. So come down here. We didn't get this yet. Did anyone go to Comic-Con? No, I did not. I did Comic-Con starting years ago. Took a few years off, and then picked it back up when I was in college, and was displaying before I even left college. I had a booth, which was kind of fun. And then I got really sick of it when things really started changing as far as like the media landscape of Comic-Con. I didn't want to be in that fucking building anymore with those fucking people. That's not fair. There's a bunch of wonderful people, and I have some very, very, very fond memories of Comic-Con. Being an absolute lecherous fuck at Comic-Con. Oh, man. So, if anybody's been to Comic-Con, there's pedicabs. Pedal cabs. Pedicab? I don't know. The people that, like, you sit like 2 to 3 people in the back, and then they ride you around. They ride a bike and they ride you throughout the city, right? Downtown, whatever. Not too far. One year, I hit it off with the girl that was riding us around. So, I asked her if she could hang out, and she's like, I need to make money tonight. And I was like, how much money do you need to make? And she was like, $300. I was like, okay, here you go. Here's $300. Let's go hang out. So we just like, we like rolled around, and then we went to a park, and then we ended up talking for hours. I was like, well, part of it was that she didn't speak English, so we were like using Google Translate to talk back and forth, because she was from South America somewhere. I don't remember anymore. Anyway, really cool. Just adventuring on her own and everything, and ended up in San Diego. And because the money was really good during the convention, she was doing that. But I blew my whole fucking budget. That was like all the money I'd made. Live a little. I told Daniel about that, and he was like, you did what? I was like, yeah, I'm coming back from this broke. Oh, absolutely, Viscera. It was like, it was just something to add to the memoirs, right? I mean, you can't take your money with you, and all those other sayings that they say. So make those memories, right? And that was, I mean, it stuck with me. It was a good time, and got to get to know somebody who I don't know anymore. But you know, had an experience, and I bet you she has a really fond memory of it. She's like, this fucking weird dude. Went and talked for 3 hours and then he left. No, we texted back and forth a little bit after that, but she was traveling across east across the country, so I was like, cool, a fucking adventure. I'm jealous. It was a good time. And San Diego Comic-Con as a whole is usually a good time. This year, I think I probably would not have wanted to do it. Just because COVID, right? The numbers just as con was getting into full swing, the numbers were pretty high. So, but then as it was happening, they got reports that the numbers were lower. We'll see what it's like this weekend, right? I'm gonna try to go live in France for a month or a little more next spring. Yeah, see, that's awesome. That's forming those memories, right? It's like my trip to Belize with my brother, right? Just, what'd you go for? Go scuba diving, make some memories, have sex on the beach with a random girl from Canada and watch the sunrise. Sex on the beach for real, not the drink, but like looking up at this vast fucking thunderstorm of clouds with the sun peeking out from behind it. It's fucking, yeah, it was a good memory, man. I would say worth it for me, although that night my brother got roofied, so probably not worth it for him. What is this song? I don't know what this song is. I apologize. I can't change it. Was that on the itinerary, or was that just... It was just happenstance. Like the whole night was just happenstance. We had met these cool Canadian girls in the bar, and you know, primarily because I'm an artist and I was drawing in the bar and people were buying me drinks because apparently it's fucking magic, and people were like, he's just sitting there like making things out of nothing, and I was like, do you want a drawing? You know. Anyway, met the girls and then hit it off, and then you know. Walked them back to their bungalows, and then the next night ended up buying them all dinner. A lot easier in Belize than it was like. If you can buy dinner for 5 people and it costs you like 50 US, yeah. Nice dinner too, not Amy's jerk chicken down by the docks. But then that night, you know, went from dinner over to the pub, and we were all hanging out and dancing and stuff, which is where I get my love of the song Rasta, not the Bob Marley song, but She Was in Love with a Rastaman, that song, because that song was playing that night. So it's a very good memory song for me. Anyway, and then went, and we were all on our way back to the bungalows again, and we got drinks on the way out. Oh, there was one other dude there. Yeah, that guy got roofied too. So the drinks apparently came from the bar and were given to Laura, the girl that I was chatting with, and she handed them to the girls, and as we were walking, the girls were like, oh no, I don't want any more. And so my brother slammed one. The other guy that we had met, really cool guy, really nice, slammed the other one. And because I didn't ask to see anybody's bungalow. That's rude. And so then we were walking back to the bungalows, walking them back to the bungalows. And by the time we got to the bungalows, it had hit my brother and that other guy. And then Laura, the girl that I was talking to, I had a sip of her drink and she had a sip. And then somehow we spilled the drink, so we didn't finish it, luckily, right? And then my brother, right near the bungalows is a dock, and he was like, oh, I don't feel so good, like right by the dock. And he just kind of stopped and was like right near the water, puking his guts out. And so then I sat down and was waiting. There was like just a little construction area there, and Laura waited with me, and then the girls and that other guy walked back. There was 3 other girls, and walked back to their bungalows, and within like Stonehill Art. Oh, welcome back, Stonehill. Good deal. So they came back after me and Laura were just sitting there chatting for a little bit, keeping an eye on my brother. And oh no. So we're sitting there chatting, right? Blah, 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 blah. And I look, and I'm like, that looks like my brother. And I look again, and I'm like, wait, where's my brother? And then I look back, and he's like walking off towards the bungalows, and I was like, fuck, all right, here we go. So he made it over to the bungalows, and the girls were like, hey, you got to get this other dude the fuck out of here. He's freaking us out. Oz, shut up. I know how I spelled it. Still saying somehow. Yeah, so, man, I gave you guys the punchline before I gave you the story, didn't I? It's all backwards. Oh, well. Anyway, so I had to talk to, I sat down to talk to the dude, right? And I'm like, all right, what's going on, buddy? And he's like, I'm sorry, bro. I'm so sorry. I'm just not cool like you, man. You just like, you have your shit together. You're just like so cool. And like, I'm sorry I'm not like that. And I really apologize. I'm sorry. He just kept saying I'm sorry. And I was like, dude, no, it's fucking, I don't know what you're talking about, man. I don't got shit together. I'm like, everything's good, man. But why don't we go for a walk? Why don't we get you back to your hotel room? So like walking him back over past the docks, and for some reason this pack of wild dogs just showed up. Like as we were walking, just like 10 dogs, just not like vicious or anything, really friendly pups, just like, what's happening? And we're walking, and I was like, okay, man, well, I gotta make sure that my brother's okay, because the girls were watching my brother, who had just laid down next to the fucking to the ocean, little tiny lapping waves, so that he could puke into the ocean. I'm like, I gotta go make sure that my brother's all right, man. So walk that way for I think a mile, and then your place is on the right. Good luck. And the last I saw of this dude, he was just walking off into the Belizean darkness with a pack of 10 dogs. Holy shit, dude, I hope you're okay. But I had just met that dude, and my brother was, I mean, he had 3 beautiful women watching over him. You know, he was all right. But I had to make sure that he was all right, so. I mean, I wasn't about to walk a mile to take that guy back. I had to go talk to Laura. Oh man, I forgot our lips. That would suck. Yes. This is very specific. I have to be very careful because if I mess up this, it turns from a smirk into something that we don't want. Where? What? Who? So, yeah. That was a tangent. Sorry, friends. And all that came about from discussing adventures. Yes, Cosmonaut. Have fun in France. Do everything that I would do. And I do mean everything. Friends, if you are new here, let me convince you to hit that old subscribe button and ring the bell so that the next time we go live, you know, and you can join us. And I promise that that we'll have more stories like this. I do have to say that trip was one of the more interesting ones that I've experienced. I did a lot of things on that trip that I had never done before. Went skinny dipping in the Caribbean to a full moon. That was fun. I'd never done that. Been skinny dipping in Hawaii before, never the Caribbean. I feel like that's an admirable objective, like skinny dip in each one of the seas and the oceans, right? Why not? Make that a goal. That's a good life goal. In Italy, we followed a Japanese guy who spoke no English nor Italian out the third-story window and onto the roof of our hostel. Hell yes, Cosmonaut. That's adventure. So you can see that every once in a while, sometimes quite frequently, I will spin the pencil, and that's to get the sharpest edge up against the page as possible. And that's just so that I have a longer period of time with a sharp edge, so that I have finer line work on there, right? When I flick my finger like that, it's usually me spinning the pencil, right? Man, muscle memory is a weird fucking thing, isn't it? If it were the whole of a life, it would be well spent. Indeed. Pulled out a bottle of vodka and we got smashed watching the stars rise over Pisa. That's wonderful, Cosmer. That's a great memory. Never thought about spinning the pencil. Yeah, absolutely. That way, you know, because it gets flattened on one side and then you flip it over and you have a nice sharp tip, right? Sharp tip. To this day, I do not remember coming back in through that window, but I'm alive to tell the tale. I'm pretty sure you did come back in through the window at some point. Some point or another. That is a fun story. And you live to tell the tale. Oh man, I don't think I'm gonna have enough room to show you guys the bottom of the page. I might have to flip this upside down. Why is it upside down? All right, let's get back up here to this stuff. Yeah. We're making good time, folks. We might actually pull this off. Oh man, so I was thinking about putting in a trellis in my downstairs patio area, and I started looking into what the costs are. It's like $3,000 to $5,000. What the fuck? So I'm gonna have to hold off on that for a while. I want the privacy from my next door neighbors right over there, as well as the shade that it provides, as well as just having like green things growing on it, right? But that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. So yeah, might have to hold off on that. When I paint in oils now, I just mostly start in straight with paint. So you're going to alla prima, huh? Yeah. Trellis would be nice. I could also just take the time and get the materials and do it myself, but you know, time is money. Do I want to spend my time building a trellis? Or do I want to spend my time making art and pay somebody else to build the trellis, right? Yeah, I've done a ton of alla prima stuff. Like any workshop image that I've painted, alla prima, right? I can actually show you. Where are you going? Cut that out. Stay there. Bad. So that's an alla prima one. But that other one I showed you earlier, not alla prima. But I've got stacks of those 16 by 20 alla prima boards in the old art closet, just filled with shitty alla prima paintings. Thank you, Viscera. That's one of my favorites that I've done. The other one is up in the main hallway, actually. Damn it. I'm gonna have to fix that after this. Let's see, I went to Disneyland. We snuck half of the group in, and then everyone but me and a friend dropped acid down in Disneyland. Wow. That's quite the memory right there, man. I don't think I would want to do that. That just sounds too intense. fuck. The edge of this page, man. It's fucking me up. It's fucking me up because I don't have anything to rest my hand on. So, you know what? Make two. I'm gonna get all these edge lines first so I don't have to do this again. Well, thank you, Leon. I appreciate the kind words. I think that with painting, there is a place for all of the different techniques, and that's why I'm constantly looking for new ways to do this sort of stuff, right? So when I'm doing a painting, I'm keeping the technique in mind so that I know what the end product looks like, right? Like, did I do a drawing and then glaze over that drawing so much that the drawing disappeared and then I had to reinforce it with paint later on? Or did I do a drawing and then glaze it and then paint lightly over it, except for in the lights where I made it opaque, and then the darks are just glazes and washes and stuff, you know? So all of those things are just adding to the kind of the visual language of the medium that I have. Much like knowing, you know, if I have this brush in Photoshop and I use it on this layer with this technique, then I end up with this particular look at the end of a painting. Only it's a much longer process. How we doing? 8:13? We're all right. Tend to not want to do this stuff on a timeline, but I also would like to produce on stream, right? And because I have the day job stuff, I have to put limits to the amount of time that I can do any of this stuff, because I have to wake up and hit deadlines. You can see by the bags under my eyes that I have not been waking up or going to sleep in the correct time sequences recently. Part of that was that when my dad was here, I was sleeping in the studio in the Murphy bed, and realized that's not my jam. I don't like that. But it's good because it also helped me determine what it's like to sleep in here. So when I have guests, I can be like, do you need it cooler when you sleep? And I can crank up the AC, right? Because nobody likes to be hot and sweaty at night. I take that back. Few people like to be hot and sweaty at night when it doesn't actually involve sleeping. Wait, when it doesn't actually involve sex. There we go. Just checking that we're not off the page yet. Almost. Okay, right here. Right thing. I said what I said. I know what I said. How are we doing? Yeah, okay. I thought so. Yeah, and here there was actually this comes here. I missed a line when I was doing the tracing. Okay. Did all that, did all that. Okay. So this interior stuff here. Oh, missed those bad boys. See, this is why I use a red pencil, because you can see clearly what you missed. So if you look at all of my transfers, they all look the same. They're basically, you know, lead pencil with wax pencil over them, basically, essentially. Although I don't know that Cola Race is actually wax. I don't know how this is going to show through with this much tape on here. Usually I only put tape on one side, but I double taped it because it's it's a big piece, right? God damn it. So Daniel and I have this ongoing argument about what the best pencil sharpener is. And don't tell him, but I actually really like these ones now. Even more so than the Panasonic barrel one that I have from, like, because it was given to me by an animator for Futurama and Simpsons and Big Mouth, Bob's Burgers, and that sort of thing. I've had it for years and years and years. Had it all the way through college. It's still with me. It hasn't died yet. So it's kind of like, it's like an heirloom. It was with him in the studio. It was with me through school. So it's kind of like, I still will swear by it, even though it's not the best tip anymore. Shh, don't tell Daniel. Can you say who the animator is? I might be working with him. Brian Francis. He was a friend of mine that I went to Santa Barbara City College with when we were both teenagers, and then he left and went to Cal Arts. And I stayed there because I was yet undecided. And then he got out of Cal Arts just as I was getting into Art Center. And I ended up living with him when I went through school while he was on his first jobs on Futurama. And then he left Futurama, did a bunch of work for other companies. Did I miss something on this? No? Okay, well here, let's get a couple of extra lines in there. And then ended up just doing all kinds of stuff. Because that's how animation works, right? You it's seasonal. You're on a show for a season, and then you get cut. Or it gets put on hiatus. So basically during the season you save up all your money, and then hopefully you get brought back for the next season. If they start that season and you didn't get picked up, then you move over to another show if it's at all possible. That's the whole thing. And his experiences on Futurama, because while I was trying to get into Art Center, I was visiting him because Art Center's in Los Angeles, Pasadena, right? And as is all the production companies that do that stuff. So I was visiting him, and his experiences helped me decide that I didn't want to be an animator. Just because I was not partial to that life. Like, I didn't want to be a wrist for somebody, and I didn't want to wait 20 years to have my own show, right? I had too many ideas for that. And I didn't want to draw the same thing day in and day out for months and years at a time. So I decided to go to school for illustration rather than animation. It was a major turning point in my life. So I have to say I owe him for kind of paving the way of and getting the jobs first, so that I didn't have to experience the fact that I disliked the industry and didn't want to do it, right? Which is the same thing that happened with comic books, where I realized that it was very much a politically based old boys club that I didn't want to be a part of. So skipped out of comic books at the age of 21 when I got my first comic book assignment. Oh, sure. Absolutely. Ian. I mean, everything had to change, but there is still some of that stuff within comics, within any sector, really, right? A lot of nepotism, that sort of stuff. But times are changing, and for the better, I would say. Was it a difficult transition into illustration from animation, or did you have illustration in your sights even when you were pursuing animation? Viscera, I didn't really, I didn't keep illustration in mind as I was trying to become an animator, because they are, while they're similar skill sets, they're very different. There is an inordinate amount of studying the form and being able to rotate things in your head and that sort of thing that that ultimately you need to have as an animator, that you don't necessarily have to have as an illustrator, but it can't hurt, right? So it wasn't like it was wasted time in the amount of studying that I was doing to become an animator, because I can turn forms in my head now really well, right? Like it's all in pretty much anything and everything. Like I was talking to Lo-Fi about earlier, about breaking things down into their requisite shapes and visualizing them in 3 dimensions. That all goes back to studying animation. That doesn't go back to studying illustration, except for that one sketching for dynamic sketching or sketching for illustration class that I had, right? And then, tons and tons of anatomy classes to help me understand kinetics and the way that the muscles fit together and proportion, and how to use all of that stuff to my advantage to even skew those things or change those things, right? I didn't go to school for animation. I tried to get into comics and realized I wasn't going to be able to make it in comics. The question is like, what is make it, right? Because a lot of those comics illustrators are, they're busting their fucking balls, even, just to make ends meet. It's a, I hate to say it's a thankless job, but it is a thankless job. And there's a reason that they get into technique drawing, where a lot of the characters look the same, except for the costume suit that they're wearing, because you have to produce at a certain level unless you get into independent stuff. And that's kind of the first comic stuff I did was indie stuff, and it was like, you know, it was just me learning how to make deadlines for the most part. And then when other stuff came down, it was that's when I started to come to my own realizations, and then I broke my hand and just dropped out of the whole thing. Because I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go back to school for something else right now. And that's when I started studying media and animation and electronic music and sound recording, and almost took a very big left turn in my life. Yeah, it's a grind kind of a job. I knew people doing 22-page books in 2 weeks for $30 a page. Nah. Know your worth, you know? I would never fucking do that. Never fucking do that. In fact, if somebody offered me $30 a page, I would school them on not being a fucking dick. Man, I almost said the C word. 'Cause that's insulting, right? It's like I think somebody recently had offered Daniel, we did the math on it, and it was like they wanted 25 drawings, and it would have been like less than $10 a drawing or some shit. And I'm just like, do you know how far along we are in our careers? To be offering us $10 a drawing is just, ugh. Do your research before you message somebody, you know? So I think I got all of the parts. I don't see anything that doesn't have red on it, so we get to pull the tape off now, friends. I don't have a career in art, and I think that is super low even for my... Yeah, right? I would never offer somebody that kind of money for art. Like, time is money, and skilled time is even more money. Where is it? Come here, you son of a bitch. There we go. The drawing. So usually what I will do is I'll leave the top tape on so that if I need to, while I'm working, overlay it and check the painting to the drawing. But in this case, I might just take it off. The reason being that I'm going to be primarily reliant on the drawing to do the heavy lifting on this as I'm working. So there's going to be a lot of washes and that sort of stuff, right? So you'll still see a lot of the drawing. I keep reiterating that. And part of the reason that I'm reiterating that is to myself, so that I don't fuck it up as I'm working and be like, oh yeah, let's go super opaque. Because that's happened to me before, where you're chugging along, and you get into a process that you never intended, and you end up with a very different painting than what you had originally set out to do. One of the paintings on the wall back here, the figurative one, if this wasn't set up, you could see it through the secondary camera that I usually have over there. There we go, all clean. No more blue. Ta-da! Just throw that on the ground. Oh man. Can you see the drawing on there? Okay, so what did I learn from this? I learned that this Sarl paper is very uneven in its application. Because the last Sarl paper I did hardly showed up, or showed up too much, rather. And this is hardly there, which means a lot more penciling over the next half an hour. So basically what I'm going to have to do is draw it a fifth time. Because like I said, the line work is very important. But the good thing about that is now I can really come in here and make sure that these lines have what I want them to have, right? So they can be as thick as I want them to be, and they can be as broken as I want them to be. They can have concaves and convexes. Did the surface differ between the two times? Stonehill, it absolutely did. And the surface that I used on the other one was a pre-primed surface that I had tried to adjust. So it was a very cheap primed board where it actually is primed with some texture to it. And what I had done was I had gessoed over it to try and cut down on that texture because it felt artificial to me. So I tried to do some of this kind of texture, right? Tried to give it some of my own gesso. And I tend to give it a bit of a hatch. I don't know if you can see the hatching. It's on camera, it's showing one hatch more than the other, but it's actually, in person, there's a nice cross grain to it. Yeah, absolutely, 100% going to seal the drawing. I have Winsor & Newton workable fixative that I'm going to be using. That has been 100% great. Way better than other workable fix that I've had in the past. So this is where I would say this is where the real drawing happens, right? You can see that this glove's slightly dirty, getting these smudge marks from the glove. Oh well. This whole canvas is going to be covered with stuff, so I'm not really worried about it. It will be covered enough that that I don't have to worry about some smudge marks on it for now. If I was doing something more like that piece that I showed you earlier with the lips, then I would be more concerned with the cleanliness of things. So tonight is just hand porn for all you guys that like to see my hand on the canvas, huh? Okay. So I've got the drawing right here so I can look at it as I'm working. Maybe the texture impacted it. I've used the blue version before and found the lines very dark. Yeah, you know, maybe, I think perhaps the texture did impact it, Stonehill. I do have the blue also, and I tend towards the red right now because, well, because a lot of what I'm doing is figurative, and I figure it's easier or better to have a red base than not. Right? Let's get back up here. Interesting because my hand wants to make like sketching marks, but it's already been sketched, right? So I'm trying to make like ink marks, thinking like ink, kind of. Get the red if I bought one again. Yeah. I actually bought out the art store near me, so I'm probably gonna have these for a while. But I just I don't like not having a material on hand, so I ended up buying 4 boxes of it. So got enough to last me for a while. And if my theory on it is true and there's a bit of drying with the pigment in it that happens, then I'll be in a good place because that stuff will dry over time and it will get easier to make light, clean lines with it. And if not, then I'm a dumbass. So this is where, as I was doing these lines initially, I was thinking, okay, don't do any thick and thin. Let them just be a standard line right now, and then when you get into the final drawing, then start thinking about thick and thin. And so now I get to have like kind of fun with the dynamics of the line as I'm working on them. And part of that is so that I'm not drawing the same thing over and over, even though I am drawing the same thing over and over. Essentially just giving myself a little something that I can look forward to. And that's something that Daniel always mentions. So his process is a little bit different than mine, but it's something that I clued into to kind of leave something that you can get excited about in your process as you go, so that if you're drawing something multiple times, you don't get bored with the drawing, because otherwise it's going to show, right? So don't be super tight certain times, and then, you know, decide when you want to be real tight with the drawing, or if you want to just not be tight with the drawing at all and just put in an outline and then, you know, paint the rest in. But if you leave something for your active mind to work on as you're doing it, you'll find yourself in a place with the art that is maybe a little more excited, even though you're drawing the same thing again and again. Exactly, Stonehill. Whoops. So really, in this step, what I'm trying to do is establish a lot of the big versus small marks, the concaves versus convex, and the angularity of some of this stuff, so that when I get to the paint, I'm just going to lay it in. So you can really see some of that happening in there, right? Big and small marks, some fast marks, some angles, some curves, right? Thinking about that stuff as I go. Makes it exciting for me now, and hopefully exciting as I'm working through it to the finished product. This is the first fantasy style oil painting that I will have done in quite some time. I'm gonna actually go a little bit more thick on this to delineate where her hair is, right? Really? Okay. But I'm trying to go on the outside of my existing lines to do that, right? Shit. This is gonna be this is a lot more work than I thought it would be with the drawing, because I thought some of that sorrel was going to show through a little bit more. So we might be here actually till 9:30 tonight. But I'm okay with that, because I feel like we're in a pretty good place with this thing. I'm liking some of the marks, and I may actually, I don't know if I'll hit anything off stream, because I feel like, well, one, I don't have a whole ton of time, and two, I feel like we've got some good stuff. Liad, thanks for hanging out, my friend. Good luck with your animation stuff, your boards and stuff, and thanks for coming around. We'll see you next time. So some of these I feel like I can leave without much reinforcement, right? Like they're good as is. But as Cosmer can tell you, the dynamics of the line are very important to the overall feel of the piece. Gentle love and tenderness all around. Plus, it's just good for your hands to not press too hard. So I know that he's going to be lit from the back in here, but I also know that to make this thing work as far as the finished product. I need to make sure that I have a fleshed out drawing, right? So I may end up painting over some of these lines. We will have to see how that feels once I get all of the washes in place, right? What up, Flexible Tangent? Welcome in, friend. Good thing about using this red is I can adjust some of the underlying lines, and those things will just disappear when I get into the actual painting. Flexible, how's your night going? How you been, friend? Haven't seen you for a bit. That's all on me. Been taking care of life things, visiting with family and friends. Gotta do that in the summer sometimes, right? In fact, friends, I'm not gonna be here Friday because I'm gonna be heading out to the Big Island, or sorry, not the Big Island, to Maui for the weekend for my sister's wedding. So enjoy today, enjoy Wednesday with me, and then we'll circle back the following Wednesday because I'm going to be coming back on Monday, which means I won't get here until well late on Monday night. Oh, I will, Stonehill. Thank you. Been waiting for this wedding for quite some time. And I get to hang out with my niece, which is cool. I bought Scrabble Deluxe and had it sent to her. And she was like, "You sent me Scrabble Deluxe." And I was, "Yeah, it's game on when I get there." Nothing like kicking a 13-year-old's ass at Scrabble to make you feel like a man. Just winding down for the night in my new place. Well, congratulations, Flexible. That's awesome. Is it a new rental, or did you move into your own spot? Ian, thank you. Have a wonderful night, my friend. I appreciate the words of encouragement for my travel day, Friday. I'll try to have fun. But I know I'll have fun during the wedding. Have a wonderful week, friend, if I don't see you on Wednesday over on Twitch. Grabbed a new rental. Right on, Flexible. Glad to hear it. Always nice to get into a new place, right? Just switching things up a little bit. A little fresh start, right? good thing about drawing smoke is there's no wrong way to draw smoke. I mean, that's not entirely true, but... Actually looking to buy in the next year. Oof. Interest rates are rough right now, Flexible. The Fed just raised it almost a whole point, right? But there's no reason not to buy, because you can always refinance at a later date at a lower rate. You need to collect all the couch change. Yeah, and then some, right? But next summer should be a great time. I'm a first-time buyer. Oh yeah, you'll get that great first-time home buyer discount action on those loans. That's good, man. Hell yes. Get it. Careful with those earrings. Be very careful with the face stuff, right? Because one wrong move can change the entire face shape or the entire expression. So while you want to be cavalier, you also want to have some control on the parts where you know it makes a big difference. Right? Like I said earlier, the smirk. Be very careful. By cavalier, I mean self-assured, so that your marks don't lock up, right? Because if your marks lock up, you can kind of feel that as the viewer. You can feel when somebody was like, I'm afraid I'm gonna fuck it up. And as soon as you get into that position, it's a bad position to be in, because things start to suffer because of it. And yes, if you're wondering, I did miss a line right in the hand. It's a good thing I got the drawing there. So I can feel myself speeding up in some of my mark making, and that can be both a good and bad thing, right? So you'll speed up when, a couple of things, either when you're bored or when you can see the end of a piece at hand, right? Where you're like, oh, if I just hurry through this stuff, I'll be done with it. And that can really fuck you up, because then you can lose the flow of what you've got by pushing too quickly through certain marks. When we talked about this in the past, the rhythm should be dictating the movement of the speed at which you're applying a line. The rhythm of the art itself, right? Meaning straight, curve, curve, counter curve, all those things. It all should be working in tandem to produce a rhythm to the way that you're drawing. And it shouldn't be dictated by a necessity to finish out a drawing in time for a stream to end, or because you want to get a snack or something like that, right? Because we've all been there, if we're artists, we've all been there where you're doing a drawing and you get lost in the moment, and 4 hours later you're starving and you can't think anymore because you're so hungry. Right. So snack up before you start your drawings, friends. That way you're not distracted. Because you want to be in flow brain. You don't want to be in the brain that's saying, hey, maybe if you took a break you could get something to eat. Because as soon as you take that break, it's going to take you 15 minutes to get back into flow state. Proven. Science. Flow state is science. I love that there's more and more study of it too, because the more they study it, the more we'll be able to discover ways to trigger it, right? Because as artists, we want to be able to dip in and out of it as quickly as possible so that all of our stuff has that flow feel. Because there's just days when you're just on point with art, right? Like everything's happening as it should. Unlike this line right here. Oh, you guys can't see it. Damn it. That's certainly messed up. I'm gonna fix it. I'm gonna fix it. Cutting right across, right where it shouldn't be. Boo. Okay. Need somewhere to rest my hand for these. And of course, all the lines are hard to see because I had to rest my hand on something else to do them on the last layer. Man, I love flow state. I tell you, the flow state that I love the most is musical flow state. God damn, that feels good. I can't remember the last time I was able to hit that. Yeah, there was a couple of times when Burger was living here that I was like deep in flow state and she was like moving through the room and I didn't even fucking know it. She like went to the bathroom and came out and was like interrupted me because she was like, man, you are deep in it. And I was like, yeah, fuck off. Just that like drug addled, like, what are you doing here? But I want to say one of the funnest flow states to hit is with a band, like jazz band or something like that. If you were in marching band, and you know, just getting a group of people to hit flow at the same time, and you know everybody's in the flow because it's just fucking there and you're going. That's good stuff right there. That's like out of body experience flow state shit, where you're just like, wow. Flexible, do you DJ? I used to. What do you mean mixing? What do you mean mixing? Oh, okay. Yes, absolutely. That's what that's actually what I'm talking about. Or not live engineer, but I'm basically talking about producing, right? So sitting here on a DAW and making music, right? But I used to get that when I was mixing, but I would get that. There was this technique that a friend of mine, I've never seen anybody else do this with 1200s before, where he would ride the fader, and then he would ride the drive speed. So he would have a hand over here on the fader, and then, you know, the drive speed is a vertical, right? And he didn't use headphones, and he would just start the song, boom, and then he'd be listening just barely, and he would be riding the the drive speed, and it would just, the feeling of just watching him do it, and then like eventually learning how to do it. But the first time it happened was like, I thought I was fucking high. I thought I was on drugs. I was not. But it was this weird kind of, it was this kind of ebb and flow, because the frequencies would push up against others and kind of out of the way. And then it was so fucking trippy, man. It was so trippy, because I saw what he was doing, and I knew when the other song should have been there, right? But he was using it to create a third song in a way that I can't even express. And I work with this stuff all the time. And it was layered in such a way and moving into and out of the song via, I'm guessing, phase cancellation, maybe even, in a way that was just made a third song, and then when it locked in, made another song on top of that. You would swear, and everybody said the same thing, that you were listening to 3 different decks being spun at once. And then as he would drift out of the first song, then it would finally come together as to what those 2 songs initially were, because that third song that he made was nothing like either A or B. It was so fucking weird. And I've never seen anybody use that technique before, and I tried it multitudes and multitude of time until I could do it, and it's the same kind of thing. It's such a trip. Still haven't seen anybody do it since. Because it's this like speeding up and slowing down of the track you're bringing in. Oh man, so great. So great. And I will get that now with making music on a DAW. I got a very small version of it while painting. I want to say a couple months back, where I was painting, and then all of a sudden I was in flow state. I was super high, and I was like dancing and painting all at once because I was standing up while painting, and it like hadn't been there in so long. It felt so good. But with music, with creating music on a DAW, just utterly gone for hours. Like just massaging sounds for hours on end. And if you don't know what that's like, it's very hard to explain until you like sit down with, like if I sat down with like say Siriana and was like, okay, let's find sounds that make the hairs on the back of your neck stand up, and then we're gonna make a song out of that. You know what I mean? How are we doing on here? Oh. Yes, Siriana. Good sounds are good, indeed. There's just something very primal about doing that process. I feel like. Out of the way. Of like finding those things that speak to you sonically, and then having them play again and again. Unfortunately, it's not the type of thing that sticks with you, meaning like it'll trigger for you and you'll have it there, and then it'll fade off as you're adding other things in, and you most likely won't experience that same feeling again. But the initial like finding of the sound and experiencing that that like, oh God, that feels good. Just that sound in and of itself, by itself, playing those like couple of notes together is a flow state experience. Man, that was a tangent. Seeking flow state. I'm telling you. Hey yo, beautiful tangent indeed. I feel like that's that could be the descriptor of this stream, really. This is a beautiful tangent. Okay. So, I think we have the drawing, friends. So that's what it looks like flat. That's all the room I've got behind the canvas, so you're not going to be able to see the bottom. So I will prime her up. I will fix her up tomorrow so that she can be painted on top of without moving the drawing around at all, without the coal erase melting. And then I think Wednesday we can do probably a pretty quick stream where we come in and do some wash. I might actually see if I can get some something to help it dry a little faster. So maybe I can do a couple layers of some washes in there. So, yeah. Really, is that? No. Yeah. All right. All right. Yeah. Thank you, Viscera. I appreciate it. Friends, thanks for hanging out tonight. I'm going to be back over on the Twitch on Wednesday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and then we'll take Friday off for me to go and be with the family for a bit. I appreciate y'all hanging out with me tonight and helping me to get through this transfer. Sorry that I didn't get it done sooner so that we can just get to the painting part, but you know, time is what time is, and I'm lacking it apparently. So if I'm we're gonna have to do transfers on stream, I think. I appreciate that you guys are looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it too. Thank you very much, everyone. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for words of encouragement on this kind of stuff. And I'm looking forward to where this goes. You know, might have a really fun piece for the wall, or you know, if somebody wants to buy it for thousands of dollars. Because you guys see the amount of work going into this shit. This is not a fast fucking process. And my time is worth money, damn it. At least a penny here and there. Anyway, yeah, have a wonderful couple of days, friends. Thanks for hanging out. I appreciate y'all very much, very much. Love you all. Love one another. Be kind to one another. We need that now more than ever. Have a wonderful night. And that's it from the arts department. Keep drawing, and we will see you next time.
Bye, go.
Oh, queeps. There, girl. Identify with the curves and the colors and put the thing in the purple. Oh, no. Oh. Are you ready for the nips? I give you nips. And then butt hole. Butt hole. It's just fun to say, really. Clamming is what I'm all about. I hear that about you, Burger. Clamming and wieners. It's also fun to say it like as one word, but quickly. Buttle. Buttle. It's almost a bottle, but it's a buttle. I mean, like sausage. I mean, like hot dogs. Hot dog. Gonna get banned. Oof, timed out. Oh yeah. What's going on in there? Nothing, Mom. Just washing my hair. Oh, syrup pockets. That's girls have syrup pockets. I don't know what's wrong with me tonight. I'm just like, draw all the stupid things that come to mind. This is an adult stream filled with immature people, and we love it.